Hello, I'm Gary Quinn, and welcome to another episode of Ready, Set, Live. My guest today is Markus Canter, Luxury Properties Director and Founding Director of the New Homes Division for Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, California Properties in Beverly Hills. Markus is consistently ranked in the top 100 of all agents in production and transactions company-wide. And Markus is regularly quoted in the Wall Street Journal, Los Angeles Times, CNBC, and Forbes magazine. Don't go away. I'll be right back with Markus Canter. Welcome to the show, Markus. So great to have you.
Hey, Gary. I'm so grateful to be here.
You know, we have some history, and I'm so happy that you have sort of used everything that you know and moved into what it is that you do. When you started out just in life, meaning, you know, teenager, adolescent, was there a sense of you wanted to create something, or what was the intention that you set early on?
You know, that's a really great question. I think I just knew really early on that I was really empathic. So that really led me on my life path. I love people. I was really interested in understanding, you know, myself and understanding the world that we lived in. And ultimately that led me to being in a world where I was interested in finding out, how do we make this a better place to live, a better place to be?
And I believe that every history or our experiences create what we are today. And in every moment, it's a new beginning. And I know that we're also looking at it to step out of our history and step into our destiny. And I believe because you love people, that brought you to luxury home brands of being a realtor and having a team. What is it that you are inspired to do as a good luxury realtor? What is that sets you apart from others?
Well, I'm born and raised in Los Angeles, so I'm a Los Angeles native. And so I think people who are from LA are very grounded, so that's one thing I would bring up. I would also say that it's not so much about whether you're selling luxury properties. It's about that people in Los Angeles are attracted to a luxurious lifestyle. And I think what, you know, my partner Chrissy St. James and I and our company St. James Canter are about is really transforming the lives of people through real estate, whether that's somebody who's a first-time buyer or whether that's, you know, a billionaire who isn't as, a billionaire who's looking at luxury. This is a small deal for them compared to companies. So for us, it's really about how everyone relates to wanting a luxury lifestyle.
And it's interesting because I believe because of Hollywood, Los Angeles, there's a glitz and glamour that really outshines the rest of the country or the world. And everybody thinks everybody's living the lifestyle of rich and famous here. But in reality, it's really about you connecting to your authentic power. And when you deal with clients, and when you find a client or when they come, whether they're a buyer or seller, what is it that you look for as the key intuitive vibes to find them the right place? What do you use as your let's say navigator?
I mean, people are always the navigation. It's always about the client. It's always about the person. It's always about creating an extraordinary experience. So when we work with clients, I honestly sometimes think it's kind of like matching people, you know, couples together, how two people would work well together, their energies. It's very similar when you're dealing with a property and a home. And we're always considering, how is this property going to elevate somebody's life? So we're not transactional, we're transformational. We're relationship based. So a house and, when you're looking at somebody's future home, we're looking at how does this bring more joy in their life? How does this bring love in their life? How does this bring health into their life? How does this bring prosperity and true abundance? And what I've seen over and over again, and why I wake up every morning very excited to do what we do, is we see that transformation in people's lives through real estate.
And it's so interesting, because a lot of people, when they hear that, Frank Sinatra owned the property, or Bugsy Siegel, or, some famous celebrity, Madonna's house, it gives it an extra tweak. Do you find that your buyers are more influenced, or they just go, oh, well, that's good? Or are they want to know the history?
So, I'd say that we probably list more properties. Maybe 60% of all the business we do is listing and marketing properties, which is something we love to do. So whether it's the buyer side or the listing side, it's always about the story. And, it's interesting. My background's filmmaking. So for many, many years, I was a filmmaker. And so from how do you tell a story, and in Los Angeles, how do you find a story? There's, we had one property on Rodeo, and we were preparing to market it. And as always, we always look up from the very beginning all the way to the end who lived in this house. And there's this one name that came up, and it was a long Italian name. And I'm like, this is a great name, but we got to find out who was this guy. And it turns out it was Bobby Darin. So, we're always looking for the story. People are attracted to the history in Los Angeles. And I think that whether the story is about how does a house become a home, or who lived in this home, that is what I think we concentrate in order to bring the right buyer into a property.
Do you find that there are some houses, because of the celebrity background, that you showcase them more, or is it all the same? You just try to tell the story and give them the opportunity to see great property?
I think we're always looking to stand out in our marketing. And, there's so many things we can do today. And there's such a large plethora of marketing tools we can utilize, right? But at the end of the day, if you're not aware of your target audience, so to speak, in this case, your demographic, of who that buyer would be for, let's just say, a house in the hills with views versus a home in Cheviot Hills, like, you have to know, are you selling to a family? Are you selling to, somebody who's looking, a bachelor, a bachelorette? So I think it's always starting in reverse constructing and engineering, who's going to be the best buyer. And best buyers always pay the best price, the highest price for a property.
One of the things that I feel that differentiates agents is their authentic energy when they walk through a room or when they are meeting prospective clients. And I know that not everybody has this, because I've worked with several agents, and I know that in any business, that comes across as you are the business first. And I think people think, well, I have a business card that says Beverly Hills, or I have a business card that says New York City stock market. It's really who you are. And that's why I always love it. It's the brand, right,
Gary? I mean, your brand is who you are. When I think of, and people ask us who our brand is, we are real people who treat our clients like family. As family. I was raised that way, so I don't know any other way. And I think that for our brand, and I actually think this is, let's not just talk real estate, let's talk about any business out there today is about being authentic, because we can see through the BS, we can see through somebody selling you something, versus creating, like in our style of real estate, we never have ever sold anybody something. We've always created an opportunity through real estate for somebody to better their life. And when you have that, when that's your way of being, then also let's consider that who you're being and your brand also is what you attract. And so, we talk about the law of attraction or any, law of reciprocity. These are things that are about, when you can master this, you can bring a much higher level of energy into your business that is, like you said, authentic. And then you're making a difference in people's lives. And something like real estate, where, realtors don't, listen, you've got to be honest and say, well, so how do we get paid? We get paid by doing a great job, right? And you don't get paid until the very end. So it's actually a great business model for putting your clients first, always putting your attention on their needs. And then at the end, there's a reward, but never focusing on the reward, right? Because people who focus on the reward, it's like you have it backwards. Give and you shall receive, right?
It's actually, as someone who is being of service in what they do, they love what they do. And it's not necessarily any specific job. It's just being there and being attentive to those needs. Do you find yourself using any spiritual rituals every day that you start your day, like meditation, balance, running, exercise? What do you do that helps you to start the day or the week?
It's a great question. And absolutely, routine is very important for all people. Whether you're a football player on the field or you're a doctor, it doesn't really matter. All successful people tend to have successful routines. For me, it is definitely about taking every morning, early in the morning. There's I live in an area that has a lot of ups and downs in the hills, and, it's brisk. I love to take a walk every single day. With Christy, we walk every morning. After we finish the walk, the first thing we do is we sit out, on our patio in the sun and do a meditation. And without those, how do you start the day the same way, balanced? How do you move forward in the day where you start the day, picking up your phone and going through it and, feeling all the hecticness of the things to do versus we believe in a holistic practice in our business. So that means, having a really clear connection between your mind, your body, and your soul, right? And when you're balanced, you're not going out into the world, in a way that, like right now, best example for that would be like, we need to be the light. By being the light for people, we can help show them the path, because there's so much darkness out there. There's so many things that are affecting people. A lot of people are still dealing with, PTSD, right? I mean, from having gone through this COVID era.
Yeah, and I think part of that shows that we're constantly having not moments of breakdown, but breakthrough moments that helps you.
Absolutely.
Have you found that during this coming out of this COVID situation that you've changed the way you approach clients or just the marketing standpoint? Because at one point there was, we weren't talking or seeing anybody in person.
The psychology in real estate is constantly changing. We've had the good fortune of doing business in a large Los Angeles area, not just one neighborhood, over many years. And also, having a dynamic business where, our typical clients tend to be multi-generational. So we work with their parents and we work with their kids. So we're not just selling $10 million properties, we're selling $1 million properties and everything in between and above. And honestly, for us, it doesn't really matter. It's like we just want to be at service. But what we've noticed is you're constantly having to adjust and pay attention to what's going on in the psychology of people. I haven't seen, 2 months be the same psychology, over the last few years. So just really being sensitive to what's going on and adjusting is very important to being able to be at service and understand people's needs right now.
Markus, what has been the biggest challenge you've had to face recently or in the past, or what was it?
I mean, personally, it's just really working to stay centered. Right now, the market, we're dealing with markets, and whether you're somebody who's in the stock market or real estate, markets go up and down. There's changes, there's confidence, and there's also, people who get very pessimistic along this ride or adventure. And, I tell and mentor others and say, we've got to, like I said before, be the light. We have to be the positive person. But you can't just be positive. You have to be the educated person. You have to be the person who has the answers, because you're questing and looking at the big picture and bringing all these pieces together so you can actually walk clients or friends, family down a path that makes sense and that will ultimately bring people to where they want to be.
Who has influenced your life? Who's been the biggest influencer?
First, my parents. The first people I think is my parents. I have dynamic parents. My father was one of those good guys. Like he taught me that making a difference matters. And furthermore, I believe that everyone makes a difference. And that's another thing that one of my personal missions is to make sure that everyone that I talk to understands that they're making a difference in all of our lives, and that they make a difference, and that they matter, with the intention that they're going to be seen, heard, and acknowledged. My mother on the other side, from the day I was 3 years old, I remember her asking me, "The white shoe, Marcus, or the red shoe?" And I was like, "The red shoe." Like I knew right away. So my mom trained me in the aesthetics and the understanding of what was quality over quantity. And my dad taught me how to be a authentic, true man, person, human being.
Have you found that, because when I knew you, you did not have a son, and now you're a father, have you found that the same, let's say, ritual or model that your parents taught you, you've been able to bring that for your son?
Absolutely. And this is what I'm most grateful for. I mean, there's nothing more incredible than, creating. And being a father is the ultimate expression, or a mother is the ultimate expression of creation. And, what I love about the experience of being a father is is that we're part of the evolution of humankind. Like your child, and they always say that the math, like if you have a master who is teaching an apprentice, that the apprentice will have more mastery because of all the generations. And so, my focus as a parent and my belief is that, we've had the benefit of our fathers and forefathers, all right? And so that we take that and we give that to our children. And my focus is giving that much earlier, because I think that people have underestimated the intelligence and the power and the knowledge and how quickly children can manifest and grow. And my son's already way above me.
Well, these young kids, like they just they grow up in the computer world and they can do anything, really. It's really quite amazing. What does love mean to you?
Love is everything.
And why do you think so many people are not happy? And it seems like love is missing, or they're not giving themselves permission to love themselves.
Goes back to that many, if not the majority of people today don't think they make a difference. In politics or in their family or in business, there's a detachment more and more, less of a communication. Don't get me wrong, technology is incredible, and it is a fantastic a way for us to evolve and grow, but it also has a tendency to bring people and detach them, and move us away from the need of actual physical contact and actually eye-to-eye contact, which is how we express ourselves as human beings. So for me, I just think it's incredibly important that we focus on our human technology, and also that we, as a humankind, start speaking more specifically to this abyss or vastness of emptiness that I think so many people are feeling today. It's important that we start doing this now, and that we can adjust our culture to be more connected and delineate and distinguish the difference between technology as something that helps us versus something that we put all our focus on.
And I believe that there's a timeline of connectiveness that everybody has. I mean, we hadn't seen each other in years and years, but when we got together, it was like we were there for yesterday.
It was incredible.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's so dynamic because that doesn't happen so much in life, you know. What is it that really puts you in your, let's say, motivation? What's on the list of for Markus as far as a bucket list? What do I have to do now? Or what's the big thing I need to create or do something for me? What's that list?
Well, first of all, I want to, just again give you thanks. It's really I'm really grateful to be here. Part of my bucket list really truly is to share with people anything that I can, any knowledge that along this journey and this adventure that I've gathered, and again, it's about I guess what I want to do in life is just help people, be at service in such a way that the world we live in continues to grow in a healthy and beautiful and loving way. And the message is, like you started to say earlier, it is love. Love is the ultimate energy. It's the one thing that we're all breathing in and out all the time, and it's here. And, it's not trite, it's real. And it's something that if we can approach our clients, and so taking this back to, my mission would be not to have a successful business. My mission would be to have a successful life in which, we impact and give and inspire and move people to get off of their couch and go out and to live their life. I happen to have the good fortune of discovering real estate, which is not a business that I was looking for. It found me. Other people, how other people recommend things. I had a lot of people kept saying, "You'd be great at this," and I was like, I didn't see it, and then I got it. It's actually when you put your energy into doing whatever it is that you're doing at service with the world. My mission would be to continue to do this in such a way that, as I can already see, my clients' lives are growing, and that is my true joy. That is the absolute reward, and that's how we get up in the morning, excited to do what we do.
If you could go back in time and ask one question to someone not living, what would it be? Who would it be? And what would you ask?
That's like the greatest question anyone's ever asked. Whether it would be Buddha or Jesus or whoever it is, to everyone has their own beliefs, but for me it would be to ask somebody who's spent a life of mastery, like what are the 10 most important things that they discovered, and learn from them. That's what I would want to do. Every day that we learn something new is an amazing day. Like, that is an exciting day. That's what I tell our son, keep growing, never stop. So like
growing up, not growing up, but let's say someone who's starting the real estate world, or they want to delve into that. What would be the 3 tips you would give someone that you've learned so far that you'd say, if you do 1, 2, 3, this is what you have to start with? What would that be?
Have a powerful routine every day that's about moving things forward. 2, it was there. 2 is being at service, and what that means to me is I find that too many people they just think things should happen so quickly, that manifestation in the third dimension is going to happen like that, which it's not how it works. It works, that when we're in alignment with it, meaning we're actually meditating, doing the things that bring us more on, interdimensionally, powerfully connected, it brings us to a place where we can create things. But when somebody's intention is on the end result and not on the joy of getting there, it's problematic and it doesn't really work. So I guess, who you're being is, in being of service. And if it's real estate, I would also tell them that to get on a team, because the whole, and not specifically a large team, but just what we call a Navy SEAL team, a really quality team that has good core values that align with you. So who you're being in life is going to be everything. Being of service. If you're not at service in this business, it won't be of service to you. And finally, join and put yourself around in a team where you can have mentorship.
That says it all. Thank you, Markus, for coming in and for sharing your wisdom.
Thank you.
I'm so happy and excited to reconnect and to give you this blessing of what you're doing is so amazing and brilliant. So keep it up.
Thank you, Gary. Appreciate it. It's been amazing to be here with you today.
Thank you. I'm Gary Quinn for joining me in for another episode of Ready, Set, Live. Until next time, be well.